right, y'all. Welcome back to the Mindset Matters channel where we talk about different mindset topics. And again, if you are interested in mindset, make sure you like and subscribe. Do all of that good stuff so that you can get these videos. Make sure you hit the notification so you get notified every time we do a new video. All right. Today we have a great topic for you guys, something that's been talked about a lot, but I think we're going to hit some different angles on it for you so you can get a well-rounded view of what it's all about. And so the topic we got for you today is habits. Habits. And the first thing that we are going to jump into is how do you form a habit? And I'll jump right into that actually, because what I
Do it.
appreciate is the way it was described in Atomic Habits. The way it was described in Atomic Habits is that you just make a very small incremental change and be consistent at that. So I always like to use the example of working out. If you want to build the habit of working out, going to the gym, doing the thing, the smallest first step you can do, you want to ask yourself, okay, what is the very smallest first thing you can do? And this is why I love the way James Clear presented this, is because he went subatomic and he went really deep into it. And so that's what I'm going to help you guys with today is we're going to go really deep into what is the smallest possible thing you could do first. And so I invite the audience to think about that for a hot second. Just kind of think, okay, what's the smallest thing you could do first? Usually we kind of go a little bit beyond where we need to go, but the smallest thing that you could possibly do to start the habit of working out is just driving to the gym or just buying some weights if you don't want a gym membership. That alone is the very first smallest step. And so that's how you want to break a habit down in your mind. Like, what is the smallest step? Now, with that, what you want to do is just build a consistent habit around that, right? So again, if you just went to the store and bought some weights, if you only have the weights at your house and you don't have a gym membership, then every day the smallest next step you can take is go over there and pick up the weights and just put them back down. That's literally how very small and intricately detailed you can get with habits to be able to build upon them and really feel that reward that's part of the habit system so that you can keep growing in that process, right? And so if you do have the gym membership, just drive to wherever you're going, EOS, LA Fitness, whatever, Mountainside, wherever your local gym is, just drive there at a particular time and leave. What's going to happen is eventually, same thing with the picking up the weights and just dropping them. You're going to be like, okay, I I'm here. I might as well do something while I'm here. But again, let the process work itself into that and just first focus on building the consistent habit of going to the particular place or picking up the weights for the day. That's what's going to get you in the rhythm of triggering the mechanism of this is what I'm going to do today. This is what I'm going to do today because that's why I say repeated reminders. Repeated, it refines us because it's as you're repeating this very same thing over and over and over again, it's priming you and it's helping you to really hone in on what's important because there's so many different distractions and so much stuff that can actually be labeled as important. But for us in our particular lives, we want to really centralize, okay, what is actually priority of importance to me in my living experience right now? And so that's what really helps. But I'll pass it off to you, Zach. What exactly um, do you feel is the way to form a habit? Or in your experience, how have you formed habits?
Yeah. Uh, so really like your point to James Clear, Atomic Habits. Excellent book. If you haven't read it, you got to read it. Um, Actually, it's very interesting that this was our topic today. Um, had a woman today in one of my calls. She kind of a little bit of her backstory. She had lost weight in the past, and she kind of had like, she'd keep it off for like a few months and then she'd gain it all back. And she had done that. This was her third time. Okay. And every time she would go into the doctor's office, her blood work would start to look not so good. Her blood sugar would be elevated. And that would be kind of her trigger to say, okay, I better, get back to it. Well, this time she went in November and she was like, I'm just not feeling it. Um, and we talked, I mean, this was probably a 20-minute call or so. And she didn't know this, but the whole time I'm in the call thinking like, man, this woman, like, she said she wanted to do it. Like she wanted to make changes. And specifically, she was talking about healthy eating is what she was doing. And she was like, I just can't put down some of these foods. The holidays were really tough as far as like, I just kind of fell off the rails and I didn't come back on. And so, what we talk a lot about at my job, and I've been practicing this more so, is just mindfulness. All I told her was, I don't want you to change anything about what you're eating. You're going to eat the same thing without any judgment. See what the texture's like, what it tastes like, how it makes you feel in the moment. Maybe 10, 15 minutes later, how it makes you feel then. That's the first step. So, kind of piggybacking off what you said about James Clear, it's like the first initial steps. Let's not even think about changing our diet. Let's think
Right.
about those first steps that even just thinking about what you're eating. There's actually studies that show when we actually take a bite or two of our food and we're slowly, same thing that I said earlier, tasting the taste of the food, the texture of the food, how it makes us feel, that I can't remember the exact statistic, but basically through that we're going to eat smaller portions because our body is recognizing that we don't need that much food when we're actually being mindful and actually being aware. Um, so all that said, I, having those habits, it sounds, and the thing is, people, you just have to believe that they're going to work, even though it doesn't feel, just like you said, you're somebody's driving to the gym and they're like, what is this going to do for me? But that's the point, isn't that you're just driving to the gym. The point is eventually you start driving to the gym and you're getting out of your car and you're scanning your badge and you're jumping on the treadmill. It's a process. So when we break it down to, like you said, that subatomic level, and we go very slowly, built this way, but especially people that are trying to make lifestyle changes. When we break it down like that, in my opinion, it's the most effective way that you can build a good habit. Yeah, so couldn't James Clear was just so. I actually read that book right before I went work from home. It was actually in our office, and I read it and I was like, man, this is like it's it's honestly really simple. It really is. It's just the fact that you implement those little things, and like he says, get 1% better every day or every week, and you'll see the changes over, as long as you're consistent, you'll see big changes.
Dude, 100%. And I've implemented that in like, cause we was just talking before we even got on here of just all the stuff that I'm doing. But that helps me to keep moving forward, is taking that into account. Like, okay, but I have improved this a little bit. I have improved this a little bit. I've improved like 4 quadrants of my life. Small incremental progress, but it's progress nonetheless. And plus that's the arena I've decided to dive myself into anyway, because I'm trying to balance everything. I could easily just be like, okay, well, no, I'm putting the kids in daycare, I'm doing this, you know what I mean, and then just totally drop off of it.
Right.
But um what's helping to continue that growth is looking, engaging at, okay, but has there been progress though? Has there been at least a little bit of progress in each area? And when I do look at it, it shows me, okay, yes, there has been a little progress in each area. So with that being said, um, it's for me, my bad. It's for me to
You're good.
be able to be satisfied and content with that, to continue to keep moving, because I know that the little progress is being made, and as long as I'm being consistent, it's gonna over time spill over and maybe compound, and then it'll be a
Absolutely.
large jump. Okay. So yeah, comment, y'all. Definitely let us know if you have some good things, some good habit, um, some good formats to be able to build a habit, or comment if you liked what we was talking about. But the next thing we want to get into is how to make it sticky. How do you make a habit sticky? And this was something that I thought was actually interesting when I was thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, how the heck do you make a habit sticky? And for me, it simply is, you have to, in your mind, grab it in such a way as this this means my life, right? And it very well may not, but you have to come with that type of approach for it to actually be something of substance, to where you just won't kind of willy-nilly it, right? You have to, in your mind, capture it in a way to say, oh man, I have to do this. Like, I this is an absolute must or need that has to happen. And when you put it into your mind like that, that's what helps to be able um to really, really, really make it stick. Baby, it's my microphone. Okay, let me get that. Let me get that. Oh, I can't let you get it. All right, I'm sorry. All right, but what do you think? What do you think makes a habit sticky?
So okay. So I like what you said at the end there. It's really it's a want or a need. Um, and the thing is, honestly, Kev, I think that just from talking to so many people like I do day in and day out, some people, this is one of those things that I don't know if I have a direct answer. I think it's different for everyone because some people, as unfortunate as it may be, some bad things have to happen to people for them to change.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
and so, that's it's almost like a forced habit at that point, unless, of course, there are people that, you know, for whatever reason, they still don't change, maybe after a diagnosis. I talk to a lot of diabetics. So,
Mm,
like, um, if somebody us with diabetes, it's almost like there's a fire lit under them, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna start eating better and exercising and that kind of thing. So that's one way. Um, as far as people that aren't, let's say it's not having to do with your health or
right.
your physical health
And Tony
anyways,
Robbins says
if
that's
it's,
inspiration or desperation, right? One of the two. That's when you'll
oh
really
yeah,
make some changes. Is
that's,
inspiration or desperation. Go ahead, my bad.
oh yeah, no, you're good. I don't know if I've ever heard him say that, but yeah, that's really good. um like, let's say you're trying to pick up the habit of reading. um I think it first starts with self. Why is reading going to help me? Is it going to help me? um and thinking, like, how am I going to implement this? Am I going to implement it? Am I going to read something that probably doesn't interest me first, or am I going to start with something that I know I enjoy, and that'll get me in the habit of reading, and then I
Right.
can move on to whatever else it may be. Um, so asking yourself these questions, um, because at the end of the day, it's just you and your thoughts, and it's like you have to make those decisions based on, you know, the wanting to change is a big one, and why, really finding out why, not just like that surface level why,
Yeah.
because people can tell you all they want. There's, well, why do you want to lose weight? Well, I'd look better, that kind of thing. But
Right. My
then if you get
kids, it's
really
a
deep
lot of,
on people, it's
yeah.
it's about their family, and it's about not having to let their kids take care of them when they're older, and you can get really deep with it. So what makes a habit sticky? It's that, I think, um, inspiration or desperation. It's those who have gone through something tough, and they're, you know basically being forced to change, or it's that self-talk, and that want, and then finding out the why, and having it basically become second nature to you.
Yeah. And I'm totally with that, cuz for me, um I'm not that attached emotionally wise to my children to where they really are my why. To be 100, like when I was thinking about that, and I think I saw a
Hmm.
Simon Sinek video or something like that where he said that, and I was like, okay, yeah, I do, yeah, I want to do it for cool. I want a cupcake. I want them to have something established, a legacy, blah blah blah. But I was like, really, at the end of the day, though, it's for me. You know what I mean? Like it's really for me to go in these directions, and I really want to develop myself, and I really have
Hmm.
the desire to make those incremental changes and do the best I can to be progressive as much as I can. And I think that's just because of the simple fact of the arena of life we're in right now, until God takes over. It's like we have a
100%.
limited time frame on this existence. And so I'm like, okay, I'm finna run it until the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? Like I wanna see how far I can really go. Like how much can I keep this state of
Yeah.
mind, this state of being. That enthralls me, man. That just makes me really passionate about life. So, like you said, though, it's very different for other people, and which is funny because I was just having a conversation with someone who has someone staying with them, and they were saying this person doesn't have that. Like I'm gonna need to force them out, unfortunately, and that's
Mm.
that is, like you said, it is in a way unfortunate, but we're all motivated differently. We're all, if you do have to be in a super desperate situation to get yourself off and get going, then that is what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And I mean, sometimes, I don't know what the statistics are, but that doesn't even work. People just completely fall off and they're just completely out of it. But at the same time,
It's true.
we all have a choice to allow that to happen or not. And I think, choosing that is what you want to focus on. Is like, okay, am I choosing to just give up, or oh, girl, or am I choosing to just give up, or am I really gonna push to see if I can make it? And so we're always faced with those two options. But lastly, man, but shoot us a comment, y'all. What makes a habit sticky for you? And what I encourage you guys to do is to really think about, the stuff that you do, and then try and figure out what is the motivator behind that. So for many of us that may commute to work, or have specific routines, like even I was thinking about this earlier, which is really tripped out. Even feeding my kids, I'm like, okay, I literally could choose to be like, no. I mean, I'm a human being, right? I could literally just be like, I'm not feeding them. But there's something that's making me do that. There's something that's like Kevin choose to do this. And when you really, really break down your mind like that, or if I am commuting to work, what is it? Is it the paycheck? Is it really the paycheck? Or what is it? And that's what you want to figure out. So you guys let us know, shoot us a comment of what you think makes a habit sticky. But the last thing we want to talk about is um why habits can be good and bad. And of course, I'm sure we all know this, but let's really, really dive into it. Because there are good habits and then there are bad habits, right? But what constitutes if it's good or bad or not? And I thought this would be something interesting to kind of bounce back and forth, because my thought process behind it is it makes it what makes a habit bad is if it's pulling you away from your goal. If it's pulling you away from your dream, if it's pulling you away from the direction that you really want to go in, that I think is what makes a habit bad. Or if it's detrimental to your health, if it is, yeah, and if it's detrimental to your health, or if it's not in alignment with your goals, I think that's what makes a habit bad. But what do you think,
Yeah, I mean, I think that lines up perfect. I think that a habit that is good is serving you. It's not, it's not hurting you or anyone else. And it's not destroying you physically or mentally.
man?
Um, it's building you up. Now, obviously there's things that, like, okay, like exercise. Right? You're breaking your technically, but you're also, through good nutrition, you're building yourself back up.
Right,
So I'm not talking about things like that, obviously, but
right.
um, you know, things like um, toxic relationships, for
Mm,
one. Like, people feel comfortable in
mm-hmm.
toxic relationships, and it's like that comfort, but at the same time, maybe physically, but definitely mentally, it's, you know pulling you down. And
Right.
so, it, as much as maybe we don't think about something like that, and that's just one example, but we don't think about that as a habit. Staying in something for a long time is a habit.
Yep.
um, and so, maybe that's something for you guys to think about. Is there things like that that isn't serving you? um, you know I, t- I know I always go back to my job, but it's especially for like behavior talk, but like people that you hear all the time, my job taking up all my time.
Mm,
I've talked to people that are working 60 plus hours a week, and you can tell just by listening to them talk. Have to tell me that, but I just know. Um, okay, and I really have to say, to these people, like, is this worth your health? I know you're making a nice paycheck and your
right.
family's comfortable, but like, how important is this 10 years from now? I mean, I try to say it in the kindest way possible, but we're all replaceable,
Right.
as far as like a corporate. Um, you may not think that somebody will do as good of a job as you, and maybe they won't. But guess what? They're still making the same paycheck,
Right.
and doing the same job essentially. Um, so, people that are literally killing themselves slowly over a job. Now, a job, you may think again, a job's not a habit. I have to do it. Well, no, like you just said, no, you don't. You don't have to commute to work. You don't
Right.
have to choose to go to work. Um, Now, obviously, we want to live and, have nice things and eat and have a roof over our heads. But the fact of the matter is, if you really want to get deep on yourself, think about those things that are taking away um, from your physical and mental health.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's well spoken, man. Cause it's and that that's the construct of reality that we're set up with that a lot of people struggle with, man. I can and I understand it because going into the realm of trying to build something for yourself and even just trying to find yourself period before you even go into that realm, there's a lot of work that's involved. And so with that, I do encourage people to ask themselves, are they making an excuse and saying that, or is it really just, hey man, I'm doing this because I feel like it's the best way to move forward. I think that would be more of a progressive thought process for it, which may improve their health slightly of doing the job, because it's like if you going into it and you like, oh, I can't stand it, I hate being here, and you go into that place, what is that doing to your brain? You know what I mean? What is that doing to your mind?
Right.
Continuously waking up, going somewhere you dread. That's something you definitely want to try and shift. But really thinking
Hmm.
about, okay, what really is this? What really am I doing? And is this really benefiting the way that I keep saying to everyone or mentioning to myself or reasoning with myself to continue on this path? Because again, like you said, it is very important though for your health, though, for your health to really assess, hey, is this worth it? Because yes, you can set up something and establish something and it could sustain the generations, but I mean, if you I guess if you want to go out like that, you have that choice, right? You could say, well, no, I know I'm not going to live long anyway, so I'm just going to use up everything I have to build a foundation for my family, to have a legacy of my family. I just don't believe that that's what God wanted us to do. Yes, He wants us to be self-sacrificing, especially in service of Him, but at the same time, I
Hmm.
don't think he, like Jesus did the ultimate sacrifice, right? He was the one who his entire life surrounded around, okay, I have to be betrayed, I gotta die, I gotta do this type of stuff. But that was
Right.
for us to have life. That was for us to be able to live. So in a way, with the way everything's set up and the conditions, we do want to have a measure of contentment and satisfaction and being able to be happy with each other, because otherwise how could there even really be congregations or anything built where people get together or communities built
Hmm.
if everyone is like, oh my god, I gotta sacrifice my entire life to for the future? That to me isn't sustainable for a society, period. You know what I mean? It's like everybody would be super broken down and it would trickle down to, it would go in the wrong direction because people would be more negative than not, which is kind of where we are right now. And that's
Yep.
why positivity and kindness and everything needs to be pushed even harder, because you know this is something that we have to teach ourselves more, like, and then things we've been talking about, the self-love and taking care of yourself and everything like that. For some reason, it's like this is a new concept. It's really not, but in a way it is, which is weird because you
Yeah.
think about in the Bible how it mentions like long suffering or patience. um People, I think, initially kind of took that out of context, maybe the previous generations and stuff like that, and they took it to where it's like, no, your life is only to, give it up for it wasn't, it's give it up to God. It's not give it up to your job, give it up to your employer, and try to build a wealth system for your family. It's give them the information that you've learned that helps you to be in an elated state of mind. That's
Hmm.
what I feel is more of the message, as opposed to people feeling bogged down of, man, I have to do this. I have to go to this job that I hate to be able to provide for my family. That's a habit loop that we need to break, because especially now with everyone and this new medium of social media, these influencers coming up and these different ways of creating wealth for yourself, that's no longer a thing. It does not have to go that way. And I think a lot of people have shown that already, which is why social media is what it is, because it gives you a platform to be able to make something for yourself that you actually enjoy. And I truly believe, I mean, that's one of the fruitages of the spirit, right? It's like we're supposed to be able to exude that represents God himself as well. So, or the image of him. And so that's what we're trying to replicate. So, no, you don't want to be walking around upset all day, mad all day, or frustrated that your entire existence is going towards something you do not like. So really, really think about this stuff, y'all, because these are the type of conversations that I think need to happen a little bit more often. And I'm glad me and Zach can provide that for you. I hope this conversation gives you guys a different perspective and really helps you to think about your life in general, because we're really serious about making some major changes in the world, lowering your stress, helping people with anxiety, depression, and stuff like that. Because the practices that we talk about, the things that we do, and we're having conversations around, can actually help you to feel better about your existence. And that's really at the core where we want to start to help you guys. So really think about that. So join the Mindset Matters Institute, and the links should be down in the description. But definitely take a look at that, because that's what we specialize in. We specialize in helping you to get to lower those stress levels, to get more in a happy, peaceful state within yourself, and then to lower that anxiety. And we're not saying it's going to be totally eliminated, but it is definitely going to significantly decrease a lot of those symptoms that you guys may be experiencing. So, any closing remarks you got for us, Zach?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that last part. Like this, you know, what we're teaching, between meditation, it's and like you said, managing stress. It's not that stress and anxiety is going to be eliminated. It's that you can handle it better.
Right.
Um, and it's just it brings you a peace in a sense when things aren't going the way that you'd like them to go. You can be okay in that, and just have some habits, systems, and processes that help you through those times. And I think last thing I want to say is, like, this is really more so than anything just to get you guys to think about yourself and to think about your life moving forward, what you want it to look like, and just by doing some simple things really for yourself, how much your life will improve. And we talk about all the time, change that vibrational state, and just because feeling good is a good thing. So we're looking.
Yeah, 100%, man. So, guys, always remember that mindset matters more than anything else. Again, you want to look into deeper of what we do, go to www.mindsetmattersmore.net and check us out. But other than that, focus on the good. Remember to focus on the good, and we will see you guys next time. All right, anytime. And Zach,